In the dim bluish light of the room, the young woman with long pink hair stands silently, her expression calm but tinged with worry. Her eyes, soft yet conflicted, glow faintly as she gazes downward, lost in her thoughts. She clutches something in her hand, but her mind drifts far from the present moment. Good? She wonders to herself. Right now, I'm only trying to come up with a temporary solution. But if Bei Ming Yi truly gets angry, if he stops looking for me altogether, maybe that would be the best outcome. Her silent monologue hangs heavily in the air, revealing the inner turmoil she hides behind her composed exterior. The scene shifts sharply. The woman, now visibly more tense, straightens her posture. Determination flashes through her violet eyes as she turns to the others in the room. She speaks curtly, brushing aside whatever conversation is happening behind her. "You two keep talking," she says, her voice low but firm. "I'm going to find a nurse." Without waiting for a reply, she leans forward, intent on her next task. The words "put down" float beside her hand, emphasizing her brisk movement as she sets something aside. Her delicate hand gently places a glass of water on the dark wooden table beside a white lamp. The movement is controlled, almost automatic, as though her mind is already elsewhere. The cup settles with a faint tap, a small but telling sign of her distracted thoughts. The room around her remains still, only her quiet actions hint at the tension threading through her emotions. Now standing at the doorway, she pauses, her expression turning calm again, though her eyes betray a lingering heaviness. In her arms, she holds a blue and white medicine bag, neatly labeled, name Muzi Kin. Her fingers curl around the doorknob as if she's preparing herself, mentally and emotionally, before stepping out. She draws a soft breath, shoulders squared, ready to do what she must despite the unease weighing on her heart. Just as she is about to leave, a voice calls out from behind. She turns slightly, revealing the profile of a young man resting against the hospital bed. Despite his weakened state, he wears a gentle smile, speaking as though trying to lighten the atmosphere. "Didn't you say before that you wanted Nangong Li to star in your movie?" he asked, with a hint of warmth in his tone. He agreed. His words hang between them, unexpected, comforting, and perhaps even encouraging, causing her steps to halt as she absorbed what he said. In the quiet hospital lounge, a man with silver hair sits casually on the sofa, his arms crossed as he watches the woman from across the room. His expression is cool, almost indifferent, as he responds to whatever was said earlier. "I didn't agree," he clarifies plainly, "only that I would consider it." Across from him, the pink-haired woman pauses near the door, her heels clicking softly against the floor. She turns slightly, confusion flickering across her face. "Why did you suddenly change your mind?" she asks, unable to conceal her surprise. Her voice carries a mix of curiosity and suspicion, as though she senses there is more behind his words. She steps closer to the hospital bed, her eyes widening with realization as she faces the young man lying there. His calm gaze meets hers, and for a moment the air between them feels charged with unspoken meaning. "Did you help me talk to him?" she asks, her tone a mixture of shock and disbelief. Her heart skips slightly. She hadn't expected anyone, least of all him, to intervene on her behalf. The room feels suddenly smaller as she waits for his answer. The man in the striped hospital pajamas sits up more confidently, his presence steady despite his condition. Without hesitation, he replies, "He's my cousin." The revelation drops like a pebble into still water, small, yet sending ripples through her thoughts. She stands stiffly beside his bed, startled by how simple and straightforward his explanation is. The woman turns her head, her long pink hair sliding softly over her shoulders as she reflects on what she just learned. A spark of understanding lights up her violet eyes. No wonder Nangong Li felt so much friendlier than the first time we met. She thinks to herself, "I sense something different. Now it finally makes sense. Her brows lift ever so slightly as her confusion dissolves into clarity. Trying to regain her composure, she shifts into a more formal tone, addressing the silver-haired man respectfully. Mr. Nangong, actually, you can take a look at our script first, and then... Her voice trails off, suggesting possibilities she hopes might appeal to him. The tension in the room softens as she attempts to bridge the gap between professional request and personal connection. The silver-haired man raises a hand thoughtfully to his lips, his sharp eyes narrowing with a mix of amusement and calculation. His expression is calm but undeniably smug, as though he enjoys observing the interaction unfolding before him. The faint curl at the corner of his mouth suggests he already understands more than he lets on. Still touching his chin, the man gives a low hum, as if weighing a private conclusion. Speaking of the two of you, he says lazily, if this girl is really your girlfriend, then it wouldn't be strange for me to fulfill her request. His words hang deliberately in the air, teasing yet probing. He watches their reactions closely, clearly entertained by the tension he's stirring. The pink-haired woman instantly stiffens, her face flushing as she waves both hands in frantic denial. I'm not his girlfriend, she blurts out, her voice shaky with embarrassment. Her wide violet eyes reveal both shock and panic. Meanwhile, the man lying in the hospital bed looks on with a faint smile, calm, almost mischievous, as if he's enjoying her flustered reaction more than he should. The silver-haired man raises an eyebrow, unimpressed by her denial. His gaze shifts to her again, his tone turning sharper. If you're not his girlfriend, then why were you with him in the middle of the night? And why were reporters able to photograph the two of you together? His question cuts through the room like a blade, direct, undeniable, and disarmingly logical. The woman freezes, stunned, speechless. Her expression explodes into pure shock. She leans forward slightly, eyes wide, pupils trembling with sudden dread. What did you say? We were revealed? The rising panic in her voice echoes the alarm flaring in her eyes. It's clear she had no idea, and the realization hits her like a bolt of lightning. The moment the sharp words leave his mouth, a stack of glossy photographs comes scattering across the wooden table. The man's hand releases them almost carelessly, as though the images themselves are nothing more than inconvenient evidence. One of the photos, clearly showing the pink-haired girl and the silver-haired man together, slides forward, catching the light. This problem has already been buried by Sichuan, he says coldly. Otherwise, news of you two being together would have spread across the entire nation by now. The photographs fan out like unfolding secrets, unavoidable, undeniable, and dangerously close to exposure. The pink-haired girl stands frozen in the cool-toned room, her hands trembling slightly as she clutches an envelope to her chest. Her wide violet eyes shimmer with worry, her face pale as the weight of his words sinks in. So scary. If it really spreads out? Her thoughts spiral as fear tightens in her chest. She imagines headlines, accusations, gossip spreading like wildfire. Realities she's never prepared to face. The quiet around her only makes her dread louder. The silver-haired man straightens to his full height, brushing off the tension with an air of casual detachment. His expression smooths out into something unreadable as he steps toward the door. All right, I've got to go. His tone is calm, but his presence commands attention, like someone who only moves when he has already calculated his next 10 steps. With a slow, confident motion, he rises from where he had been sitting, one hand slipping casually into his pocket. The movement is smooth, unhurried, almost elegant. The word "stand up" accompanies the image as he prepares to leave. Every gesture of his radiates quiet authority, as though he has already decided the direction of the situation. Before walking out, he turns his head slightly, casting a sideways glance at the man on the hospital bed. A faint, cold smile curls on his lips, a smile that hides warning beneath politeness. I'll help you calm that yay guy, but you'd better pray that this girl doesn't hold a special place in his heart. The subtle threat lingers in the air long after he speaks, heavy and chilling. With that final remark, he steps forward, leaving behind a silence filled with tension and uncertainty. Under the cool, bluish light of the room, the girl stands deep in thought, her violet eyes clouded with unease. Her long pink hair drapes softly over her shoulders as she stares downward, lost in her own worries. Soothe Ming Yi? She wonders anxiously. How could that cold, ruthless man possibly be angry with me over something so small? Despite her attempt to convince herself, her expression betrays a faint trace of fear, as if she knows that when it comes to Ming Yi, nothing is ever simple. The scene shifts to a bright, sunlit street where tall trees cast shifting shadows on the pavement. The pink-haired girl stands face to face with a handsome man, dressed casually in a soft pink shirt. His smile is warm and sincere as he speaks. "Thank you for taking care of me these past few days," he says gently. "Tomorrow night is my cousin's birthday party. I want to invite you to come with me." The breeze rustles the leaves overhead, and for a moment everything feels calm and easy, so different from the chaos she just left behind. Her eyes widen slightly, her lips parting as she struggles for a response. This, she murmurs, voice trailing off as uncertainty fills her expression. The sunlight catches the soft pink of her hair, emphasizing her hesitation. She seems torn between politeness, responsibility, and her own complicated thoughts about what this invitation might mean. As she wavers, her thoughts begin to race. Nan-gong Lee's younger sister? She repeats internally, stunned. Does that mean I might get to meet Nan-gong Lee himself? Talk to him about the movie? Excitement flickers through her heart, yet it's immediately overshadowed by doubt and worry, stirring a storm of emotion inside. He gives her a light, reassuring smile as he opens his car door. "All right, see you tomorrow night," he calls, completely confident in her acceptance. His tone is cheerful, as though the matter is already settled. Left standing beneath the canopy of trees, she suddenly reaches out instinctively. "Hey!" she calls after him. Her figure looks small beneath the towering greenery, torn between wanting to explain herself and wanting to understand her own feelings.